What's up everyone and welcome to a new video. And today we have a lot to talk about obviously because yesterday was the Resident Evil showcase and a lot of new information came out of that showcase and we've already seen a new trailer also in the showcase. So a lot to talk about, and today I'm joined by David with whom I'm going through this trailer and to just see what kind of tiny exciting details we can discover.
Yes, let's just say it was a really awesome trailer. We've seen a lot of crazy things, things we haven't seen before. And it all starts with one area we have seen before, and it's the Valley of the Kings, which is kind of in the center, in the middle of the Resident Evil Village map. But we can now see the whole area for the first time.
Definitely interesting. We now also see the center itself, right? So this is the umbrella logo, and we can now see the other logos as well. And these are the 4 key houses that are present in Resident Evil Village. So I think this is House Moreau. Then I think this is House Heisenberg. Then this is House Dimitrescu, because this is what you also see on Lady Dimitrescu's necklace. And then this is House Beneviento. So those are the 4, let's say, houses, factions in Resident Evil Village that you will visit as Ethan. So definitely this is central to the plot also, this Valley of the Kings. We're just calling it the Valley of the Kings. We're not sure if it's really called the Valley of the Kings, but we are calling it the Valley of the Kings. And in this shot we see Heisenberg again, and Heisenberg, he's taking Ethan to a different place, and we're going to talk about that in a couple of seconds. But first, David, what can we more tell about Heisenberg now?
Yeah, they actually updated the official Resident Evil Village website with new information, new screenshots, and one interesting fact that at the character page we can see the first name of Heisenberg, and it's also the confirmation that this character is Heisenberg.
Yes, so he is now called Carl Heisenberg. That's his first name. So Carl Heisenberg is his first name. Very German, which we were already kind of expecting. So yeah, so this is Carl Heisenberg right over here. And in the next shot, we see a little bit of the nature surrounding the village. And this is, of course, interesting because we know that some of the newer enemies, I'm not really sure what they are called, but they are more evolved werewolves, that they will probably appear in this wildlife. They will probably be difficult to detect because they kind of being absorbed, camouflaged within this wildlife. So definitely a cool place. And the villagers here, so the voiceover actually talks about Luiza's house, and Luiza's house is actually a location that we already have seen on the Resident Evil Village map, and that we discussed in our other video. And Luiza's house is probably where the villagers will gather, which we'll see later in this trailer, but not right now. But first we see this next shot with smoldering corpses through this passageway. Definitely a hostile environment, you could say it like that. But other than that, not very much you can say about this shot. But in the next shot, it looks like Ethan is in some kind of large, I don't know, citadel or something like that.
It looks like we're inside some kind of ruin that's connected to some kind of cave system.
Yeah, correct. And we see here, this is probably also in the ruins. So Ethan is already being assaulted by these werewolf people. He's carrying an awesome shotgun or a rifle. Not really sure, but it looks like a really good... it's definitely the shotgun. Looks like an interesting combat situation, definitely. But the real highlight from the trailer is this shot, right, David?
We're seeing a lot of characters here, and I'm really excited about what we're seeing here. First of all, we're seeing Lady Dimitrescu standing on the left. Then we're seeing Heisenberg standing in the middle. And besides both of them, we are seeing 2 completely new characters we haven't seen before. There's this crazy looking abomination standing next to Carl. Kind of looks like amphibian. It has all these warts on his throat. It's disgusting to look at it, but I think it's awesome creature design.
It's so ugly. It's incredible, and I don't know. So we kind of suspect that he is part of House Moreau, right? Because he's so amphibious in nature. That's what he looks like. He looks like he can survive in that dirty lake or something like that. So that's kind of why we suspect that. But that's not all that we see, right?
Yes, these are definitely, almost definitely, the 4 leaders of the different houses we're seeing here. We have one left, and actually if you zoom in a little bit, we're seeing this hooded figure with in front of it kind of a doll, a corpse bride-like doll. I'm really excited that Capcom looks like to be exploring different genres of horror with all these different kind of characters. And this should probably be the leader of the house Beneviento.
Yes, definitely. Because David, I think we talked already a little bit about this before, but it looks like this takes its inspiration a little bit from like Italian folklore, you know, like Pinocchio and just like a wooden puppet that is talking. So I'm also really curious, like what is that being that is then controlling this puppet? Because he will probably speak through this puppet. And let's not forget that Ethan is also in this shot. He is captured, so we can see him over here. Looks very helpless, and poor Ethan. That's what we can say for sure.
Yes, but there's one more character that's actually kind of hidden in this shot, and we're seeing those raven-like feathers behind Heisenberg, and probably guess who this is.
Yeah, but we'll see that later in the trailer. So let's now move on to the next shot. Like I said, poor Ethan. What is happening with him? But he is escaping very clearly. It looks like he is now escaping from the family into the cave system, deeper into the cave system. And he's seeing in this shot, he is witnessing all these bodies hanging in that cave system. And with some lichens, you can see it over here, who are basically feasting on these corpses that are hanging over there. It just looks incredibly cool. That's just what I want to leave behind over here. You can see they're clearly in a pit and they're eating these corpses. And so moving on, we now have a shot of Lady Dimitrescu. This is a shot we've seen a couple of times, of course. She presents herself and her 3 daughters to Ethan, and then they cut open his hand. So it's definitely not Ethan that is doing that himself. It's one of those witches. She is drinking his blood over here, and she does a duck face. I don't know. She's just kind of enjoying what she's drinking over there.
Yeah, I really love that they just extended this footage couple of seconds. It just makes it a lot better.
Now we see some footage of Ethan walking through a house in the village probably, and as you can see, what we were already suspecting, because we already had a little bit of footage from this house. Here is a beast man eating or just doing something else, probably not cleaning the bed sheets. And moving on, we now see the villagers in what we suspect is Luiza's house. And David, we can already kind of predict what the narrative is here, correct?
Yeah, so it looks like you're going to end up in this house because somebody's calling you towards it. With this gathering of villagers, you're gonna see that the father figure in the middle will eventually turn.
So clearly they're about to perform some kind of ritual to praise probably Mother Miranda. That's what we also see in the previous trailers. They're screaming Mother Miranda, and they're about to hold hands. And then the older man is clearly turning into a werewolf. He is going berserk, and he is knocking over the lantern over here. That is what we can clearly see. You can see in the next shot, he's knocking over the lantern. And guess what happens next? The house catches fire. The girl over here is trying to run away. You see already the older man here. He is trying to eat on one of the corpses that is lying around. Everything is burning because, of course, he knocked over the lantern. And yeah, you can see also here very clearly the gray hair of this older man. And you see that he is actually grabbing this lady. So she will not survive Resident Evil Village. That's what I think.
Yeah, clearly she won't survive this. And the next shot is probably still in the house, in the garage, where Ethan is taking control of an old vehicle, and he will burst through the house to escape.
But yeah, it looks like he's just driving out of the house. And in the next shot, we can now see again the heads of the 4 houses. And David, there's one big extra character that we can see over here.
Yes, we've seen her in the paintings, and yeah, this is clearly Mother Miranda in her own form. Yeah, we see the raven wings, the mask.
Yes, she is definitely the one that is pulling the strings behind whatever is happening. And it's just so cool to see all of them together, all 5 of them together, the whole club. And he's such a showman, Heisenberg, eh? Next shot, we see Ethan taking a dagger from a corpse. We're not really sure where this actually is that he obtains this dagger, but since it looks so, you know, special, let's say like that, it's probably being used for also a special occasion in the story. But there's not much that we can say about that right now. And then next up we see another shot of one of these giant werewolves that is basically jumping down from the roof, from which we also suspect but cannot confirm that this is also Heisenberg. Just because, you know, he's also carrying this giant hammer and, well, he kind of has the same code, so...
Yes, and I'm also seeing something really interesting on the right side. Yes, I'm also seeing something really interesting on the right side. So this is definitely a horse, and it looks like it's being ridden by one of the Lycan.
That's right, we've seen in previous artwork, Capcom actually designed artwork for werewolves riding on horses, which for me is just the coolest thing ever, and that we see a horse over here kind of indicates that we can definitely expect that in the final game. In the next shot we see a bridge coming out of the water, probably being activated by Ethan to get to another location in the game. This is definitely not the suspension bridge that we saw on the map, but still interesting to see. And we also see this bridge again in the Mercenaries trailer, where we will have a closer look at shortly. In the next shot we see Ethan with his shotgun shooting down one of these more evolved werewolves inside the village. And the great takeaway for me from this shot is that he is jumping on the wall over here, so he can actually wall jump. How cool is that? Definitely makes for some interesting combat situations in the final game.
Yeah, and the next shot's again really interesting. We're seeing here this giant fish creature that we also seen on the map. It has like 1,000 eyes, and it's swimming around in Moreau's reservoir. And if you look behind it, you can also see some kind of entrance, so we'll probably be exploring this area a lot.
Definitely. And also, I just wanted to point out, very reminiscent of the Del Lago fight against the giant monster over there in the lake. Just another giant monster. And as you can see, Ethan is also in a sloop, kind of similar to how it was in Resident Evil 4. So they're really paying some kind of tribute, Capcom, to Resident Evil 4. And it's so nice to see for me, because I'm a huge Resident Evil 4 fan. And in the next shot we can see one of these new enemies again, basically crawling through a smaller opening, trying to eat Ethan. And as you can see, it's just a really ugly creature over here. Look at the nose and the eyes and just the teeth. And then we see Chris, and well, Chris is definitely has a good dentist.
Yeah, or he just ordered a lot of these 3D wide strips. Yeah, it also makes me think, because they're showing a lot of these shots just with Chris in it, that we're gonna see Chris throughout the whole game in different locations.
And then one of our favorite characters, we see him returning in this shot, and that is the Duke, of course. And he looks like a very satisfied man to me, definitely very comfortable in his little cabin or whatever it is. And he is just prepared to buy everything that Ethan offers him and sell him also a lot, of course. A very interesting, cool, extravagant looking character to me. And then it looks like Ethan is getting a vision of Mia, so he's kind of maybe hallucinating, he's turning crazy. That is very well possible in this strange village he's in. And then in the next shot we see this shaman lady again. It looks like she has her own shrine dedicated to Mother Miranda or something else, we're not really sure. But also an interesting shot indeed. And again we see here in the background the emblem of House Moreau, which sort of suggests that we will meet this shaman lady for sure over there. And then in the next shot we can see Ethan being knocked over by this military type character.
Yes, on the official website they revealed that this is actually a member of the squad Chris is in, called the Hound Wolf Squad. Looks really cool, and it also looks like one of the guys is wearing the new PSVR.
And then going even further, we see then of course they're threatening Ethan, probably because they think he's an enemy. But of course Chris calls them off, because he is of course the leader. Chris, my boy. What is he doing? He's texting somebody or something, or he's just looking at his notepad. I'm not really sure. So, and that is the end of our analysis. I just wanted to say that tomorrow there will be a demo of Resident Evil Village on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, which you will be able to download in a time span of 8 hours, and you will only be able to play this demo for 60 minutes. So that is definitely an interesting approach that Capcom has taken for releasing this demo. So be sure that if you have a PlayStation console, that you are ready to download and play that, and we will do a comparison between the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 version of this demo. So even if you have played through it, come back to our channel to check out that comparison. And with that said, I would like to thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.